my name is SYAFFA BINTI AZHARI. My matrix number B09191019A. Okay, today I will explain to you about introduction of PCV. PCV is stand for positive crankcase ventilation. We can see here PCV is located on bottom of crankcase. The PCV valve was created to prevent oil sludge from blocking vehicle engines and to reduce environmental impact from hazardous fumes, because gas sometimes can get trapped between engine piston into crankcase. So a PCV valve regulates emission by rerouting gases produced by the crankcase back into the combustion chamber of engine. Okay, the PCV valve allow gases to exit the crankcase, but they cannot return. The PCV valve also can help engine make a little more power by adjusting the crankcase and piston in improving the compression in chamber.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is AHMAD ZAIRY bin JAMALUDIN, and I am going to talk about the history of position crankshaft ventilation system. Since 1928, petrol engines vented combustion gas directly to the atmosphere through simple vent tube. It consists of a pipe that extended out from the crankshaft down to the bottom of the engine compartment and placed in such a way that when the car is moving, it will create small vacuum and extract combustion gases as when it collected in crankshaft. During World War II, a new style of crankcase ventilation was required to allow tank engines to work during deep fording operations, where the normal draft tube ventilator would have allowed water to enter the crankcase and kill the engine. The PCV system and its control valve were created to address these needs, but there was no need for it in automobiles. In 1952, Professor A.J. Smith of the California Institute of Technology at Pasadena hypothesized that unburned hydrocarbons were a primary constituent of smoke. In 1958, it was revealed that the road draft tube was a major source of hydrocarbons from automobiles, accounting for nearly half of the total. The simple PCV valve was recognized by GM Cadillac division, which had manufactured numerous tanks during World War II, as the first major reduction in automobile hydrocarbon emissions. Following confirmation of PCV valve's hydrocarbon reduction effectiveness, GM made the PCV solution available to the entire US automobile industry royalty-free through its trade group, the Automobile Manufacturer Association (AMA). In the decades afterward, the emissions legislation and control have tightened significantly, and vehicle and light truck emissions have reduced significantly. PCV systems are still used in today's petrol engines, along with a variety of additional emission control techniques, many of which rely on sensors, engine control, and actuators to decrease harmful exhaust emission.
Alright, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Safiq and ISAK. Today I will explain about theory position crankcase ventilation system (PCV). So PCV is the system that can reduce profile engine and profile emission from the engine. So the system it can reduce the hydrocarbon about 20% of emission product. The main component of PCV system is PCV valve that have a spring-loaded valve with the slide pinlet inside. The function to increase or decrease the flow on the position inside the valve housing. Okay, next, this how PCV works. So you can see this the air intake and then go to the piston, pass to the piston ring, and then go to the crankcase and enter the crankcase, and then going up to the PCV valve, and then go back to the total body and then burn again. Okay, so when the engine is low acceleration, there is less intake vacuum and less pull on the pinlet. Okay, the high acceleration is the vacuum drop more to allow the spring inside the PCV valve to push the inlet valve to the max flow.
So my name is AMERUL. For the next slide, I'm gonna present to you guys about the advantage and disadvantage. So the advantage and the disadvantage of this PCV has four of them. So for the advantage, for the first one, we got PCV can eliminate crankcase emission for the first. For the second advantage, it will keep the system free for the moisture due to be constant air circulation that it impulse. So for the third advantage is it keeps engine damaging slash to a minimum, extending the life of your oil. So for the last advantage is this PCB valve will also protect the engine in case of a black fire. A black fire can cause a sudden high pressure pulse in the intake manifold. This force the PCB valve close so that it can black fire can reach the crankcase. So that's all for the four advantage of the PCV. We're gonna go for the four disadvantage of this PCV. So for the first one is when the pilot within the PCB valve stick open or the spring fail, it may flow too much air and land out the ideal mixture. So for the second disadvantage is the carburetor or intake manifold pulls loose, fractures or leaks when the hose connecting the valve to the throttle body fail. So for the third disadvantage, unmetered air enter the engine by a loose or the leaking hose, causing the fuel mixture to be disrupted. And the last but not least, for the disadvantage, inside the valve, a buildup of fuel and oil varnish deposit and or sludge can limit or even block the passage of a vapor. So that's all the advantage and disadvantage of this PCV.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is RIZMANHADI bin NASRIL. Today, I would like to share about our opinion about the future technology and the improvement that we can do for our group part in the emission system. Okay, in our opinion, the electronic PCV valve is the future technology for positive crankcase ventilation or PCV. As a result, it will be more effective to the emission system. Most of the PCV valves are made of plastic hose with a spring inside. Any plastic will out after 10 years, fit in a hot place like the engine bay. Okay, for the improvement, we can replace the material from plastic to metal or aluminium to improve the part condition. So as a result, it can last longer than existing part in a PCV valve.